Hello and welcome to the Women's Empowerment Summit 2020. Today I'm truly blessed to have Dannella Burton with us. She's been in the hospitality and special events industry since the age of 16. She has owned several businesses in Washington, D.C. and Atlanta, Georgia, won numerous local, national, and international awards, and frequently featured in industry publications. Dannella owns Encore Elite Events and Lanier Tent Rentals and offers local to Atlanta and national clients full service event planning, vendor and sponsor acquisition, production and vendor support services, event rentals and decor, marketing, and a partnership approach to create all your successful events. Clients include national speakers and coaches, celebrities, networking associations, nonprofit, large corporation, and brides with a vision. Dannella is a dynamic speaker on topics such as event strategies, women's empowerment, and networking. She's a coach for event hosts, vendors, and sponsors, and mentor to other event planners. Encore Elite Events also offers a new program for event hosts called the Live Event Navigator. Dannella is a creative force who believes in multiple streams of income, pure collaboration, and always crafting the winning combination for event success. Thank you, Dannella, for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. And I need to shorten up that bio a little bit. But thank you. Thank you for sharing all that with everybody.
No problem. I know we met at a certain event, and that was awesome this year. Now that everything's online, and I know you've done a lot for women, especially those brides with a vision. So, what sort of brought you to wanting to empower women the way you do?
Well, I think those who have been empowered by others then see the value in passing that on. I mean, there's very little that I do now that hasn't been gifted to me or poured into me by those in front of me, and it just becomes, a long chain. Like many people, I've been through some life. Some of that life was thrust upon me, and I didn't have a lot of control over those situations. And some of that was messes I made myself. And in getting out of those and learning from them, I love to empower kind of the next generation, if you will. And sometimes the next generation is my peers. Generation doesn't necessarily have an age attached to it in some contexts. So I empower people through events and through speaking, and I think having a voice and having that voice heard is critically important, because it's a pretty broken world out there. I mean, we've got a lot wrong with it, and without taking this conversation, too political or too polarizing, or bringing up a lot of the issues that are out there. Whatever side of the fence you're on, whatever your beliefs are, there's just a lot wrong with the world today. And I believe what's going to get us to, a place of unity, a place of moving forward, a place of, people being empowered is through communication, through people sharing their experiences. So that's a lot of what my thoughts are, and why I do what I do, helping people have that platform to be heard.
Which is awesome, because I know when we first spoke, I was playing small. I was talking to some people, but I wasn't really, using my voice or sharing anything that I've learned. I was just too scared to do that. And I find a lot of women are in the same place, right? It's like, I don't want to be too loud. I don't want to talk over everybody. And then we, step back. So what would you say to a woman who could start using her voice?
Well, your voice matters. I think more than anything. I know for me, in the event space, up until about 2017, almost everything I did was behind the scenes. And whether it was, I have been working in the industry since I was very, very young, behind the scenes as a chef, behind the scenes as a restaurant owner, behind the scenes as an event planner, behind the bride, behind the host, behind the nonprofit. And it was about 2017 through a lot of soul searching in my 30s and kind of planting myself and discovering who I was, that I realized I did have something to say, that while what I did was behind the scenes and supporting other people, because of my years behind the scenes, I did have a message that was worthy of being heard. And I had a message that would help and empower other people to get out and be heard. And so I think first and foremost, people just need to hear that your voice matters, and I had people who told me that, showed me how to use my voice, how to use my voice in the industry, and then sharing that with other people. So, that your the solution that you found wherever you are at, as a woman who's hearing this right now, you have found some solutions to the challenges that life has given you. That solution that you found is exactly what somebody behind you needs. And somebody who's behind you may not be able to hear from somebody who's way far ahead of them on, whatever metrics of success you might be looking at, whether it's a happy and content person, whether it's a financially successful person. Sometimes you can't hear from somebody who's way far ahead of you in the process. You need to hear from that person who's right in front of you and then right in front of you. And so your message matters. It matters to somebody else who's on the path.
And that makes sense because, yeah, you don't want to feel like you're going alone or that mentor out there that is this big, huge personality doesn't understand what I'm going through.
Right. Even though they probably do, but if you can't see yourself in the person that you're listening to, if you can't, get some inkling like that's possible for me, it's hard to listen.
That's true. And for a lot of women, sometimes their inner voice plays a big part in stopping them from their success. So is like mindset, intuition a big thing?
Yeah, and I don't know about inner voice like one. I mean, I have a committee that like, has meetings, and occasionally, they don't even invite me to the meeting. They're just having, a day-long seminar up there, and they're making decisions and don't even clue me in. And that was actually part of my 30s, really kind of discovering who I am. And I share this pretty openly. I grew up in the restaurant industry, and the restaurant industry is, a lot of alcohol, and throw some drugs in there as well. And what I did in my 20s and into my early 30s, in some ways was very acceptable in the group that I was in. But the fact is, I'm an alcoholic and an addict. So while what I was doing might have been acceptable in the group that I was in, the manner in which I was doing it was not acceptable to anybody. And I did get sober at 33. I've been sober for 19 years now. And so a lot of the rest of my 30s was kind of figuring out who and what I was, and what was acceptable and what wasn't. And um, one of the things I discovered in recovery, but I think it applies to everyone, is all of that stuff that you don't deal with. And maybe you didn't deal with it because, in my case, it was alcohol and drugs, but maybe you're not dealing with it because it's just stuff you won't look at, or, you shop, or you deal with it with relationships, all of that baggage that we tend to bring with us. If you don't deal with it at some point, it's making decisions for you. It's the committee that's in there and telling you you're not good enough. It's not going to work out. You don't have a voice to be heard. Your opinion doesn't matter. Be happy with what you get. I mean, all those limiting beliefs are all a result of the stuff that we just haven't dealt with at some point. And so, hopefully there comes a point where you say enough is enough. And sometimes, usually, it's at a period of great pain where you realize what you're doing isn't working, and you start seeking other solutions, um, that you can break free from some of that, and then you can be open to hear, the good voices that are in there, because they're in there too. They just kind of get muffled sometimes by, the negative ones tend to be a little louder, or at least in my case they have been.
Which is true. And it's funny that you say that, the committee's there, because it's just not a good and a bad. It's, yeah, a lot of things that go on for sure. And especially when we carry those things from childhood. And as parents, I've often, apologized to my kids just in case I've ever said or done something that has totally sent them in the wrong direction. I seek therapy. So,
I, I have I have gone to my husband before, the end of the night when you're kind of reviewing your day, and more than once I've looked at my husband and said, "Today is a future therapy session for our children."
it's true. And I'm like, I'm so sorry.
This one is going to come back in a therapy session one day, and we've had pretty open conversations with our kids, and they know our history and they know my history, and we try to be open about things, and the fact that as parents we're still people, and incredibly flawed. And I said something to somebody one day. I go, I guess the best of parenting is if you know break some generational problems and patterns, but don't we just give them new problems? Like, at least let me give my children different problems than the ones that I got. I mean, it's kind of crazy. We get handed these beautiful children, that come out perfect and start as these beautiful, pure, perfect beings, and they're left to us. I mean, what kind of system is that? I'll have that conversation. There's a few questions I have for the big guy when I get up there, and I get to have a couple things that I've just resolved the fact that I'm probably not going to get like the final answer, in this lifetime. But I'll head up to the pearly gates with my list of questions that, can you just clear this one up for me? Like, what was your thought process behind this? Because it's sure, from our perspective, it looked like it was missing something.
Well, that's it, right? And our kids, they're smart, certainly smarter than I am, and they're more aware of stuff. So, I mean, I did give them some good stuff too, which is nice, and said, yeah, I just need you to be more aware and stuff. But, it also comes down to things like happiness. Like, how would you define happiness now? Because I know when we were younger and with my boys, they're happy if they're with their friends and not being too stressed out, where sometimes along the way they still want the big house. I don't want the big house anymore. Like, I'm more particular where the house is going to be than how big it is.
Well, and I think happiness and contentment is a really big issue and a really big problem today. My kids are a little younger, they're 12 and 14 now. And I think one of the bigger problems that we see, especially in this like COVID environment, it really brought to light the constant sensations that our kids get in this digital world that we're in. When we were younger, you know, a bicycle and friends for the day, and we were great, and we were outdoors, and we used our imagination. And now they use their imagination, but things are so instantaneous. They can get anything that they want on the phone, on TV. And it's something we've discussed with my son. 2 minutes after a show is over, or if we he's had his allotment of the phone for the day, 2 minutes, I'm bored. Well, take that board and get a board game. Take that board and draw something. Use your imagination. And I think that that's something that is really rampant with our young people today, and sometimes us as well. I know that now having a phone, you are constantly looking for kind of that sensation or feeding information to your brain. And for me, it's really important for my overall happiness to take those times where I'm just still. And that wasn't, as important to me until as I get older and I see the value in it with me, and look to instill that in my kids, that, real happiness comes in those still moments. Now there's a lot of joy and a lot of fun that comes in being in the excitement of events, the excitement of, hopefully we'll get back to travel at some point. I love to travel, and in those experiences of life. But there's some real value in being happy and being content when there's nothing going on around you. And that's something I definitely seek today.
That's awesome. I love that. I live in Northern Ontario. We have snow on the ground. Going for a walk in the woods is just amazing. So yeah, they've got, and I get my son out, and one of my sons says, "Yeah, you ruined me because my happy place is by the water in the bush." So I'm like, well, good, because I want you to understand the get back to nature, not just, my phone dings. Oh, someone wants you. They can wait a minute. I'm in the middle of something.
Yeah. One of the things that I've done for myself during this time, because this is where I'm at quite a bit, this box right here, and communicating with people, and this is speaking opportunities now, and this is events. So, I'm on Zoom quite a bit. So one of the things that I did for myself this summer was, we now have a hot tub, and that's my time to like get away from everybody. It's quiet. It's usually in the evenings. It helps, a little nourishment for the body, feel better, work out some of those, kinks that I can get sitting in this chair all day. But it's also just some quiet time. And, I've had some of the best conversations with my kids, when we've slipped into the hot tub at the end of the night. And of course, you can't have the phone in the hot tub, I mean, that's a disaster waiting to happen. But we've had some of the best conversations because it is away from everything else, and that's where I'll hear, how did the day go? What are some of the things going on with them? Or those quiet times by myself. So, I think it's important that you build that in, whatever that means to you, you know, whether it's a walk, whether it's going and do something that allows you to be quiet, or finding that space in your home, or that activity that you do that just gives you that quiet. I think being able to sit in that quiet has a lot to do with feeling happy and content with your life.
So very true. So getting back to a bit of the speaker stuff and the voice, like how would you, I guess, explain to a woman how to boost some confidence so she feels comfortable speaking? I remember when you first heard me speak, and it was a crazy thing. Second time was bang on. First time I blew up, but I had to get through that to do that. So what kind of nuggets would you tell a woman who was trying to use her voice?
Well, it's very easy right now. And the beauty is, it doesn't feel very much different than this today. I was speaking to a fairly new speaker the other day, and she was like, I can't even imagine speaking in front of, 100 people. And I said, the thing about speaking on Zoom is you're actually only speaking to the number of people that you can see on the screen ahead of you.
True.
So it might be one person, depending on how you do the view, you can be speaking to just one person. And if you're speaking to that person and you're connecting with them, everyone else who's in that audience gets drawn in. So now is actually a great time if you're a little bit nervous about being in front of people, because you don't have to physically get up on a stage in front of people and deal with that kind of physical, oh my gosh, they're all looking at me, which we have to deal with in the in person space. Here in this virtual world, it can just be as easy as a conversation. And that is truly the best type of speaking right now. There's been trends in speaking, um, and our current trend is conversational authority, where you're an expert in something. And it might be content, it might be, how to grow your business, it might be how to grow your happiness, it might be an experience you've been through, it might be motivational. But whatever your area of expertise is, it's conversationally sharing that with other people. And so this is a great environment to test getting your message out there. Um, it's never been easier with social media lives to just hit the live button and have a conversation on your page, on your profile, which is filled with friends and family. So they want to hear what you have to say. And it's easier than ever to say that and share that, whether it's, speaking at events, interviews like this, sharing on social media, and all you see is the people who are right in front of you, even though there could be thousands that end up hearing your voice once it's shared.
That is great because, yeah, people think of the numbers and go, oh my gosh, I could never do that. And if you're just in speaker view or conversation view like we are, then it's so much easier.
Mhm. And I've been on some big stages. I mean, I've been in front of 1,000, 5,000, I think 20,000 number of people that I've been standing on a stage and 20,000 people in front of me. And it is daunting. I mean, that's a lot of eyes on you, and then my heart was beating pretty heavy, and, my voice caught a little bit, but here you literally could have 20,000 people on the other side of an event or a broadcast, and you don't feel their eyes on you. So I think now is a good time to practice, to get your voice out there, to find the people who need to hear what you have to say, because you do have something to say, you have something of value. um, there is not a person, especially in light of the pandemic and what we're going through now, there's literally no one on the planet that hasn't been impacted by something that they need to overcome at this point. And so, if you have a solution for people, and again, whether it's personal, whether it's business, whether it's motivation, whether it has to do with being a woman, a mom, a parent, an educator, whether it's a skill, there's somebody who's not where you are that you can share that information with and benefit them.
That's true. And I mean, we do have to, if we have that to give and share, do that for the next generation as well.
Exactly.
It's imperative. So when you have put on events for people as well and stuff, I know you do a lot for that. What type of women would want to maybe put on an event that would be your client?
Well, one of the things that's great about doing events today is doing events in the virtual world really is at a discount. There's things that you don't have to do in the virtual world that you do in person. So the financial risk of gathering people together and doing an event is discounted in the virtual world. So whether you are looking to bring people together because you want to make an offer at the end of an event and fill your coaching programs or your courses, whether you want to sell products or sell services, an event inviting people, telling people what solution you have for them and inviting them, now is a great place to do that in the virtual world. Or if it's, maybe it's your church group, it's your small group, and it has nothing to do with business, but you can bring people together to share your message. Now is a great time to do that in this virtual world. And then at some point, we will be back to in person events or some level of hybrid. You know, Getting your feet wet in this world, will help make that easier the next time. But we have from book writing workshops to empowerment to interviews in every theme or challenge that there might be, whether it has to do with business or personal. I mean, we see events taking place every single day. And many of those events are put on by other people, but they're looking for speakers with that perspective or that voice to add to that event. So whether you want to host your own event or you want to speak on other people's events, there's lots of opportunities right now.
Okay, when you say lots of opportunities, how many are out there typically?
Well, I don't think as an industry we've kind of settled with a number. Pre-COVID, there were 7,000 speaking opportunities every day in the United States. That was kind of the universally accepted number. And that ranges from your local networking group that might have a local business person sharing, to women's groups, moms groups, any kind of a local smaller workshop or meetup that has a speaking opportunity, all the way up to big stages that had speaking opportunities. Now, though, not only do you have all of those same events that are taking place in the virtual world, but you have on social media talk show type of social media that is an opportunity to share and connect. Podcasts, which we didn't used to put podcasts kind of in the same category as a speaking opportunity. But if you're able to share to an audience, and at the end of that time of sharing, you're able to give a call to action or invite people to connect with you or get on the phone with you, get on your calendar, or accept your free gift, maybe a PDF or a checklist or something like that. So those podcasts really are speaking opportunities. But when you put all that together, and now in this virtual world, I don't know what the exact number is, but I would venture to guess that it's 3 to 5 times what it was pre-COVID. So tens of thousands of opportunities every single day to be heard that other people are creating, or you can create your own platform to be heard.
Wow, that's exceptional. Because we can start small, like everyone wants to do, and then move your way up. I start with Facebook Lives here and there and got my feet wet and a little more grounded. And then interviewing wasn't so daunting.
Right. And now look at you. You put together this amazing summit, gathered up speakers that you knew had, a voice that you wanted to kind of create the theme for your event. And now you're going to share this. And, this is a blessing to me to be able to share my voice. It's a blessing to you because you've put together, this group of speakers and the authority that you're going to get from doing this. And then it's a blessing to everyone who's going to hear this. And the nugget that they get might come from me. It might come from the speaker they hear right before me. It might be the speaker after me. But the blessing they're going to get by connecting to this summit and getting those nuggets that they need and that next step in the evolution. So very, very proud to see what you've done and where you've gone and what you've created. How exciting is that?
Thank you. It is exciting because also it's not just, getting the tech going, getting the summit going, but I'm finding you wonderful women from around the world to be part of the summit and meeting new people because of that. Right. You've given me referrals. Other people have given me referrals. So it's so nice that, I'm sort of elevated into the next level of my business
Mhm.
and it's exploding because I'm ready to be here.
So awesome. Yay.
And 6 months ago, I was scared to death.
Yep. Yep. I remember that conversation.
So it is great. And ladies, just want you to know that, yes, once you learn where your voice is and that you can contribute, even if it's helping one person at a time, it does make a huge difference for that person. Because I didn't really understand, even through my social media posts, that when I posted things that were very inspirational and motivational, that it did hit hearts. And when I didn't, because I was off for a couple of weeks trying to get all this done, they're like, "Where'd you go? What happened?"
Right.
I'm
Are
like,
you okay?
"I didn't realize you were watching." So, and they won't follow or click like, but they're also looking for that. So I had to understand that they're looking for my voice to continue to be out there,
Mhm.
and they're still hiding, but they'll come out eventually.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yes. So is there anything else you would like to leave our audience with today?
If you are listening this today and we are talking about women's empowerment, you know, recognize and acknowledge what might be holding you back and seek the help that you need to get past that. Because the only thing, and I don't know that I want to use the word sad, but it is sad when somebody lives an unfulfilled life. It is sad when somebody's light is diminished. It's sad when somebody doesn't live as big as they should. And it doesn't mean that your big life has to look like somebody else's. It's determining what that life is for you. And most of us need some help. Most of us, either because it's, you know, we were talking before about, what our parents put into us, maybe they messed up a little, somewhere along the way. Maybe it was a circumstance that happened to you. Maybe it was a teacher that said the wrong thing and it just, or you heard it the wrong way and it's just kept you small or kept you unhappy. Acknowledge it and then seek the help to get beyond it, because we all have a part to play. We all have a part to play to fix this broken world, and the help is out there that you are looking for. So start seeking. It's there. If you've heard something today and I can support you in that growth and that change and getting your voice heard, through speaking and through events, I'd love to have that conversation. And like I said, maybe it's the person before me or after this on this summit. I know who Alyson has brought together, and it is a wealth of information and very diverse. So listen to, tune into all of the speakers here and reach out to those that really resonate with you. And, would love to be part of that if that makes sense.
Thank you so much, Dannella, for being here today and for supporting me along the way. And thank you to all the ladies who have joined the Women's Empowerment Summit 2020, How to Create an Exciting Life by Your Design of Happiness, Confidence, and Passion to Live the Life of Your Dreams. Thank you.